Welcome to Quantum RX, the podcast that teaches you how to move beyond stuck emotions and trauma for mind, body, and spirit healing. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Davis. I don't know how you feel about the end of the year, but I feel like once Halloween hits, the end of the year flies by at like warp speed. It's like before you know it, it's Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and you don't know what happened the last 2 months of the year. And it was funny because the other day I had a friend post on Facebook to a group of women, and she's like, drop an emoji or multiple emojis for how you're feeling about the holidays right now. And I think she posted this a couple of days ago. And it was really enlightening, but not surprising, because most people put like a whole swath of emojis. There were a lot. There were, hearts, excitement, there were, like the face with all the hearts surrounding it, like feeling like love and excitement and all of that stuff. Also with like the, kind of the fear and the surprise and the dread emojis, and there's some people had poop emojis. Like there were just, lots of big feelings, both on the positive side and the negative side. And I know it's a tough time of year for many, many reasons. But truly, there are ways we can make it easier on ourselves. And we're going to be covering this today. And it's going to be real simple, short and sweet. The first thing we're going to talk about is how simplicity and gratitude are the keys to not only surviving, but thriving during the holidays, and ways you can take actions to apply these principles in your daily life. It's going to be, like I said, short and sweet, super simple, but I really want the holidays should be a time of joy and coming together and community and connectedness and love and happiness. But it is hard. It is a hard time of year for so many of us for lots of reasons. It could be relationships. It can be finances. It can be, just the circumstances of life, what you're experiencing in this season. There's so many different reasons. So I really just wanted to put this out there, make it easy and actionable, and something that like a gift to you, like so that you all can, have a little bit of some peace and happiness during this tough time during the holidays. It's great. There's and I will say I'm the first person that was like, I think I put like the sparkling heart emoji, the emoji that's got the smiley face with the hearts around it. But then I also had like the, I'm so tired one. And then the other one that's just like, shock and awe and like, I can't believe this is coming. So those were the ones that I put down. And we're going to talk about all the ways we can, just not only survive, but thrive in the holidays today. If you're curious as to if you have any stored emotions or trauma that might be causing your illness, preventing you from achieving your goals, or even just showing up as the best, most authentic version of yourself, I invite you to take my free stored emotions and trauma quiz, and you will find that link in the show notes. So let's get right to it. Like I said, holidays, it's a relatively short period of time. It's like a 2-month sprint to the end of the year. It's like in that 2 months, you basically have 4 major holidays. You have, well, if you want to call Halloween a major holiday, I think it depends on where you live, but you've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then New Year's. And, also if you celebrate Hanukkah, you've got Hanukkah. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, you've got Kwanzaa. Whatever your religious preferences are, which you believe in, you've got that stuff. But, predominantly in the United States and many other Western countries, the themes and ideas of Christmas pervade. So we're going to be talking about it in context of that, because it's like, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you guys about this first. Like, I used to hate Christmas. I went through probably not quite when I was in college, but right after I got out of college and started having, if I can speak today, started having this great awakening of the reality of the world that we live in. I think when you're in high school, but then especially in college, you start to become who you are and you start to see the way things are outside of the lens of your family. And you start to develop your own principles and your own ideas and your own identity. And for me, I want to say I probably spent a good 10 years like hating Christmas and thinking it was horrible, mostly because of the commercialism. That was like the biggest factor. Like I legitimately still to this day cannot stand the fact that it'll still be kind of like in the Halloween space and they're putting out Christmas decorations. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, why? It doesn't have to and shouldn't be like this. I also think that there's an element of escapism for the people, and this is, I'm not, I'm gonna say this. I'm not casting judgment, but if you want to live in the Christmas space for like 2 or 3 full months of the year, I get it. The positive vibes, the energy, the cozy, all that fun stuff. But, and I can say this, I've kind of been there before. Like I went from like the hating Christmas to like, oh, I've got kids and it's so much fun and blah, blah, blah. You can kind of escape in that, right? And then it makes it easy to ignore all the other stuff that's going on in your life. So, having also had been there, yes, it is a form of escapism. So, we're going to call it what it is and be honest about it. If you are like, oh, I'm going to, have Christmas up in my house for 3 full months or 2 full months. Yeah. Like, I get it also wanting to like get everything, put up. But like, I know some people who are in it, like, and just like, the world becomes Christmas for 2 years, 2 years, 2 months, sorry. And that's not realistic. That is not real life. So I've just like, yeah. So that aside, I really did not like Christmas because I just felt like it was so commercial and it lost its meaning, right? It lost the meaning of, what it's supposed to be about, right? It has become all too commercialized and it's all about buying lots of stuff, often lots of stuff we don't need. And it's also, yeah, it's not, it's I think gift giving is interesting because I love giving people gifts. Like it makes me feel good to give things to people. And I love seeing like the joy and the excitement on their faces when when they do, when they receive it. Like it's just that's fun and it's exciting, but it's like it should be simple and it should be like a positive exchange. And like there's a lot of turmoil and stress that has been built into gift giving, right? Giving people the perfect gift or something expensive when in reality, pretty sure that we all just want something that was thoughtful and from the heart, right? Or even the funny ones like my grandma, my dad's mom used to, kind of like I love her, but it was hilarious. Like her gifts were always kind of like a funny thing in our house because she was an older, like I had obviously my dad's mom was the only grandparents I had on that side. And then I had my mom's parents and my mom's parents were always like really like up to date and with it and like super cool and would give us when at the time they could afford to still give us gifts. They gave us like, big gifts and cool stuff. And my dad's mom always gave us, things that she would want. So like little trinket, like glass figurines and birds and things like that, or like bathrobes that an older person would wear and just funny stuff like that. So it like her gifts kind of became like we would all open them up at the same time and kind of laugh about what it was. And it wasn't even like but I will also say she was an award-winning baker and she would also send us this big box of like cookies and baked goods. And that was like everything. So like that more than made up for like those gifts, but it was like nobody even cared. It was just like funny. It was a good laugh for all of us. We know that her heart was in it, but she just the way she was and how she lived was not like as in touch with, you know, us, right? So there was a little bit of a disconnect, but that was okay because, we still have great holiday memories and we laugh about it. So, there's a gift in and of that, in that self. But yeah, the the holidays are tough too, just because I feel like, it inherently focusing on Christmas, we'll say like secular Christmas, not versus religious Christmas, but it really does emphasize one group of people over others and not honoring others' holiday traditions. And I get that we do live in a country where Christian-based religions dominate, but that doesn't negate the fact that we do have people who have other religious belief systems. So that was also something that really, really used to bother, that young, independent, 20 and 30, early 30 some odd year old, version of me. Like I just, when you're that young and you get yourself all worked up about all the things that you can't control, but you view it to be like a disservice to other people. Like that's where I was. Then I had kids and my world changed because there is so much inherent awesome magic of Christmas when you have kids, especially when they still believe. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah, there's so much like joy and pleasure that comes from that. Even as they get older and they might not believe anymore, it's a nice time, right? I feel like I shut down my practice and my business for like that week from Christmas to New Year's, and it's a time for me to unplug. It's a time for me to reconnect and just, be with friends and family. And that's something that, that's a good kind of segue into what we're going to talk about. It's simplicity. We don't even have to do anything. It's just the act of being together and enjoying each other's company. So we're going to get into like that first point I was trying to illustrate. That is how simplicity and gratitude are not only like the keys to surviving, but thriving during this holiday season. So, you know, that is it. Like not making things super massive. If that's your thing, that's great. But if you like, let's just say you have a massive holiday party every year, because I have a few friends who do, and it's a big undertaking and a lot of thought and effort goes into that. So I know sometimes, especially in the world that we live in now, people wait till the last minute and then they are stressed out and everything seems to be compiled onto them. So if you are falling into that trap, like ways that you can handle that is, stretching it out, doing some of the tasks over time for some of the things that you have to do, right? Because I know with one of the people that I know, like there are like games and events that they do during the party, not just food and, drinks and stuff like that. So, stretch out the planning, make that simpler for you, incorporate, ask for help. Again, this is something I think I mentioned at the end of the last episode. Ask for help. Have your friends. I actually did help a friend last year organize and decorate her house for a holiday event. And she was in a tough place. She had some struggles and some loss in her family. And so, of course, I volunteered when she asked. And it was awesome because at the end, she made us this beautiful lunch and like it was just awesome. And it felt really good to support somebody in that time. So think about ways. And I was grateful to be there to help her, and I know she was grateful for us, being there to help her. So there are lots of ways we can, incorporate these things. And I would say that being more simplistic and feeling gratitude as much as you can and as often as you can are what's going to allow you to move through the holidays. And so here are like some ways that you can just apply these principles into your daily life. So let's start off with simplicity. Number one, do not overbook yourself. I feel like this is the biggest thing because it's like all of a sudden it's like holidays. Everyone's like, oh, we need to get together. And that might look like parties, family gatherings, oh, catching up, like getting coffee, going to dinner, all those things. Don't overbook yourself because that is one of the fastest ways to burn out. So sometimes that looks like combining efforts, right? Instead of like going out to, lunch or coffee with a bunch of different friends, have them all over to your house for coffee or everyone meet at one place for coffee at the same time instead of, spreading yourself thin and having like 3 or 4 coffee dates over like a week or 2 weeks. That could be a lot on top of your normal schedule. that's like another, just don't overbook. You do not have to say yes to everything. You are not obligated to do anything you don't want to do. And this is another big test for your boundaries. It's a big test for your boundaries and then honoring yourself. So just don't do what you don't want to do. Or if you just feel stretched, if you can even, I would say you can say no at the last minute. And that's okay too. Yes, it might frustrate people, but that's okay. You need to take care of yourself. Number two, I would say don't overcomplicate things. This is another thing us as humans we're great at doing, right? Overcomplicating an event, like having to make a party like over the top and perfect. When the truth of the matter is just getting people together, serving them, something simple, something simple for food and something simple for a drink, or having it be a potluck and having people bring things, all different ways to accomplish this. It can be simple. Really, what people want is to connect and enjoy each other's company and, just feel all of the feelings and all of the awesome energy that often comes in with these types of events like parties. Gifts too. I think we definitely have overcomplicated the gift giving thing, right? For me, I've really, really I care about, like, is it a thoughtful gift? Is it, I don't even care. Like, people ask you, do you want something? There aren't many things that I really, really want. Like, really, I care more about experiences and being with people more than gifts anymore. If I get a gift from somebody, that's awesome. I always appreciate it, but people make a big deal out of things. I had a friend last year who made me a little jar of it was a cute little decorated jar of a homemade compound butter. And it was the bomb. It was so good. It was like cranberry, orange, and cinnamon, a little tiny bit of cinnamon. And it was so, so good. But it was so thoughtful and I loved it. I love that more than getting like some random gift that somebody just like ran to the store, grabbed it, and then, that type of thing. And not that I don't appreciate that, but there was so much thought and love that went into that little pot of compound butter that was so divine. And so that type of stuff, like people just want to, I think feel appreciated, feel like you were thoughtful. It doesn't have to be big and extravagant. I think we've gotten to this place where like bigger and extravagant, more extravagant means better. And that's not the truth, no matter who you are dealing with. Instead of saying take time to smell the roses, I always say take time to smell the cinnamon and pine because those are some of the scents that abound during the season. Take those moments when you're out and about and you're running around, because I know the energy of the world changes, especially from Thanksgiving to Christmas, when everyone's like, there's so much busyness and there's a lot of people in small spaces and a lot of shopping centers and grocery stores and places like public places. Just take time to stop and, take a breath and notice what's going on around you and enjoy. If you are at an event and there's a lot of people, enjoy that moment, be present in the moment, savor that and take that in. If you're out shopping, because I think I've mentioned this, sometimes I can be sensitive to people's energy. And so that might make me a little bit irritable. So I actively I protect my energy. First of all, when I go into those spaces, when I remember and I'm mindful of it. But then I also I just try to take a step back. Like I've did this at the store the other day. I took a step back and just noticed all the people, watch, the people doing all their stuff. And some people are like in a hurry and they're running. And some people are just kind of like moseying and chilling and doing their thing, in their own way. And sometimes there's a lot of kids running around and parents aren't happy. There's all sorts of things going on. So take a step back and just notice what's happening. Notice how you feel about it. Is it affecting you in any way? And in any way? If it is, try to release that and just be like, I always say, tell people to say, what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. And if watching kids misbehave is triggering for you, say what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. Because, if your kids aren't there, misbehaving, then you don't need to be emotionally involved in that. So yeah, there's all sorts of ways. It's just like make it, and I also say simplicity, building in time for yourself, quiet moments, just making sure you check in and connect with yourself. And, like if you want to journal and get some stuff out, do that. Take a bath, shut the bathroom door, take a bath, light a candle, do something to help yourself. Have a little ritual that you do, weekly or daily or something little. Give yourself a few minutes a day to just unwind, because otherwise all of this, there's a lot, like I said, a lot of energy. That energy accumulates and builds, and it can affect you if you're not aware, right? So keep things simple. Don't overbook, don't overcomplicate. Take time to smell the cinnamon and the pine. And the last thing, and I already said this, was say no if you feel like you need to. No is a powerful word, and it can be very liberating to say no, even though you feel other people have expectations of you. I have learned that I'm a happier person when I say no to certain things and I don't overbook myself. I feel like life is easier in those moments. And I feel like sometimes this happens a little bit during the summer too, but it's kind of on steroids during the holidays. So there's all of that stuff too. And then the second piece of it is, ways to apply gratitude. This kind of ties into the last point I made about just beyond the saying no, but it was like taking time to just chill and observe the moment and be present. So this is taking a moment or even a few every day to be grateful for even the small things. Like, I know that it's like silly things. Like I do gratitude with my kids, or mostly my daughter now, because my son is older and we talk about different things when he goes to bed. We talk about life, but my little one, we still do gratitude every day. And she's funny because she'll like some of the most simplistic things to her, or seemingly trivial things, she's like, she's grateful for. Like she's like, oh, I got to go to the park, or I got an ice cream cone, or, things like that. I think things that us as adults, we take for granted. Be grateful for that. If you were out somewhere and you got a coffee and you really enjoy coffee, or you got a tea, or, like a biscuit or baked goods or something like that, be grateful for that. It's awesome to sometimes those little things mean the most. Those smallest things mean the most. So that's a piece of it. And, just sometimes I will take a step back in my day and reflect on the fact that I didn't have a meetings or appointments booked back to back. And I had a little bit of space to just be, or I had 5 or 10 minutes to walk outside, and like I'll walk my dog sometimes in that 5 or 10 minutes, or just go outside and let the sun hit my face and decompress for a few minutes before I have to get back to life, right? And work and all the responsibilities I have. So there are times, and I will say in those moments, I always do gratitude. I always say, like, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for having this moment right now. Or later on during the day, I will do like a gratitude reflection and be like, I'm grateful for that 5 or 10 minutes of space that I had where I just was able to decompress and do nothing. I typically do at the end of most days. I start off my day with gratitude and I end my day with gratitude. But I also try to bring it into the middle of the day when I can, just because it's like it anchors you to the present and it makes you aware. So that's another nice way, because we know that gratitude biochemically changes us. It puts us more into a state of, like we've talked about before, coherence, and a state of love, more loving and positive, and it builds up those positive, raises the positive neurotransmitters and oxytocin and things like that. So we know that it shifts our state of being, and I think that's an important thing in this time of year. And the more we can do this as individuals, it affects the people around us, not just in your household, but if you're out in public, it's going to affect those people too. So we need more of that in the world. So let's do that. And I would also say, regarding the gratitude, take some time, like once a week, to do a reflection on the big picture. Reflect back on your week. What are you grateful for, in that, that occurred during that week? Sometimes I find that when I do that, there are little things I might have missed during the day, during a day when I do my evening reflection. And truthfully, sometimes when I do my evening reflection, I'm tired and my brain is not thinking of all the things. So it gives me a good time and point of view to like have that, like I always call it like reflection gratitude, to look back on what happened. And just like it really gives you like a mental image and snapshot too of what's happening. And I find that especially as we get into that space of Thanksgiving to Christmas, you'll probably find that you have a lot to be grateful for, even if things are tough, because I know that this particularly is a tough year for a lot of us for many reasons. And I am not ignoring that or glossing over it. There are some things going on in my life too that are tough at the moment. And it's okay, right? I'm dealing with those things. I'm working through those things. I have faith that, there will be, lessons and gifts in the outcome and, in the outcome of all of that. So there's that. There's that piece of the puzzle. But, if there's like relational stuff, if there's financial stuff, economics, even sometimes politics creeps into all of this stuff because of family relationships. Yes, I know that is hard. And again, still trying to find the gratitude in those spaces will actually make you feel better. And I know, because I think, in the last episode, I talked about, kind of the reality of growing and healing. And it's not all rainbows and unicorns. That is the truth. Especially right now, life is not all rainbows and unicorns. But if we shift our mindset and we are open to receiving, we're open to receiving help, and we're open to receiving the gifts that other people share with us, it really can make this season a little bit easier for all of us, right? And like I said, like that, the big picture reflection, random acts of kindness, that's not quite gratitude, but if you have the means and you are inclined to, if you are out at a coffee shop, pay for the person behind you. That was a trend I feel like that happened a lot during COVID and just beyond COVID. And it kind of seemed to drop off. And every once in a while, I like to do that for people just because it's fun. And I like the idea of just bringing that little spark of joy into somebody's life. I would say it's kind of like, I don't go to Starbucks all the time, but it's easy to do at Starbucks because they can just take it. Like if you have a card, they can, like a Starbucks app, they can just take it right off your app and the person behind you doesn't know, right? They roll up and you're already gone, and the barista tells them that, the person who was just here paid for your coffee, pay for your drink today. So I don't know, it's a pretty cool thing. I like doing stuff like that, or just randomly like leaving a little gift card for the mailman in the mailbox. Like I will be the first to admit that we have one of those mailboxes where you've got like the key and everyone's got like the big, it's a big box where they just go fill it all. And I am not always the best at getting it. I will readily admit that there have been multiple weeks that have gone by without me getting the mail, which is bad. I totally know. But it's not the most important thing in my day. And when my mailbox was like down at the end of my driveway, it's super easy because I was going by it all the time, but I don't always walk to where my mailbox is, even though I'm walking my dog. It's funny. It's one of those things. And so like leaving him a little card and saying, thanks for what you do, or a little gift card and saying, thanks for what you do. Sorry that I don't always pick up my mail, things like that. There's all sorts of ways you can do that. There are all sorts of charitable organizations that you can contribute to that resonate with you. If you, like I said, if you feel like if you have the means and feel inclined, going and donating your time and your time or services that you have, skills you have, those are all other ways to make you feel grateful for what you have in life, but also grateful to be able to serve other people and connect to other people. Like that is another place where we know there's been tons of science that measures this. Like when you do like random acts of kindness and acts of service, that really does, again, like build up all the kind of the positive, like the neurotransmitters, oxytocin, the positive chemicals, and really raises how you feel. And we definitely need more of that in our lives. And just another place for gratitude, just taking a moment, placing your hands on your heart, and just really feeling your gratitude, feeling like, think of things that make you feel grateful and feeling that in your heart space and radiating that out to everybody else. That's another kind of unseen, unmentioned gift that you can give to the world. I don't do that on a daily basis. I probably do it once a week, maybe twice a week, but I'll go outside or I'll go upstairs and I have a big view of where I live and from my second floor. And I will do that because I feel like we need that. We need more of that in the world. We need more love. We need more kindness. We need more, coming together. And this is the perfect season to do that. So if you do employ some aspects of simplicity and gratitude in your life, it will allow you to make it through the holiday season and even, thrive and just really enjoy the gifts that the season has to offer rather than being kind of dragged down by kind of the energy and the chaos and all of the things that can happen that can detract from the holidays. So it's not quite the whatever holiday it is, but whatever you celebrate, I wish you the best, most amazing season. And I really do hope that you all have, just blessed and happy holidays. And as always, I'm sending you lots and lots of love.
If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you. Remember, knowledge is just the beginning. Taking action is what truly sparks change. If you're overwhelmed and don't have enough energy to make it through the day, I invite you to book a free 20-minute coaching call with me. It's a no-obligation chat where we can discuss your health goals and how I might be able to help you achieve them. Visit the link in the episode description to book that call. Until next time, keep striving for wellness and remember, you have the power to not just survive, but thrive in motherhood.